Every day, hundreds of people get into their cars and listen to KTIS to listen to uplifting music. Not very many of them know how much work goes behind keeping their radio station on the air. Chaz Lowder, coordinator of creative services at KTIS, husband and father of 3, is what keeps himself busy every day of the week. If he's not at home with his family, you can most likely find him at the KTIS studios working on a promo or voice tracking for a radio show.
Probably the most important, most fun piece about it is I get to point people to Jesus every day in some way. Even in our goofy promos that, like we did a cruise a year ago with the morning show. It's about fellowship, in some way every day, whether it's a giving spot or a testimonial spot about somebody called in with a testimony about drive-through difference or one of our initiatives. I'm pointing people to Jesus.
Chaz started in radio about 10 years ago with help from a friend in Utah.
He started working at Clear Channel, worked his way up from kind of the mailroom traffic department to producing, because he had this music degree. And he calls me up and says, "Chaz, you can do this job. You can do this job. You've done all the things in the studio. Why don't you apply and send me a fake tape of you doing some commercials?" And so I put together this goofy. What I thought was great radio. It was just me puking into a microphone and yelling and trying to be all smooth doing jewelry commercials and whatnot. And they liked it. I had my first son. He was like 3 weeks old, and then I moved to Utah with my family and began the career in radio. Did production there. That was my foot in the door. Eventually got on the air at an oldie station.
With several other jobs after Clear Channel, Chaz moved to California and eventually back home to Minneapolis, where about 2 years ago he started with KTIS. Chaz's office doesn't look like most people's with all the recording equipment, but 2 things that he enjoys in his office and that always get questions are his wall of old records and his lava lamps.
So I grew up with some of these albums, like the Beach Boys album. I played the heck out of that thing, or the Footloose album. I didn't see the movie, but I played the heck out of that. The one in the bottom corner is my favorite one. I have no idea who it is. I have never listened to the album. I bought it at Goodwill. It's called Fireside Sing Along with Mitch. And it said, the last thing it says, Mitch Miller and the Gang. I don't know who Mitch Miller was. I've talked to some of the older staff here, and they say, "Oh yeah, he used to be this kind of like men's sing-along group you'd see like on like a Lawrence Welk type show, variety show." But it's Mitch Miller and the Gang, so I used to tell people, it's before it was Cool and the Gang, it was Mitch Miller and the Gang.
Chaz's goal throughout the day is to create work that shares the gospel of Christ with others on the radio. And I guarantee he'll make you laugh along the way. This is Derek Holt reporting for Eagle 7 News.